You know, being in the back, right, in the background, literally in the background.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I remember it's funny. After election day, I remember at one point we were at Jacksonville.
Right.
And it's literally me, you, Benji, Kim McDaniel,
Right.
Kim Morris.
That's right. That's
And
right.
we're upstairs in the glass room.
I remember that.
And, they were asking, well, what's next? What if they challenge or what have you? And I'm, breaking down, that information. I wish I found that picture of me like talking to at that point, the OGs, right? The OGs.
I think I have some of those pictures.
If you have it, I love it. So,
I think I got them somewhere.
So playing the background and helping out, here and in Newark, it prepares you for the next chapter.
Okay.
And I'll also tell you that, being in courtrooms, making arguments, and being left in a space where a judge says, leave it to the legislator.
Got it.
That's a good argument, but that's not the law right now.
Got it.
Judge De La Carrera said it to me a number of times about drug court.
Okay.
Where it was like, no. That makes sense.
Right.
But that's not the law right now.
Touche. Your preparation and life has done all that. You had some insights as to real challenges from the legal profession.
That's right.
You are now corporation counsel in the city of Newark, the largest city in the state of New Jersey, with all of its complexities. And then surely you had to represent the city with and for or to the state to make sure it. I'm just saying, let's let folks know you have the experience of what it takes to go down to Trenton and sit and talk and become victorious for the city.
Yeah. So I'm telling you. It's on different levels. So there's times where, of course, we go and testify.
Okay.
Because there's an issue. Right?
Okay.
We also, through the mayor's leadership, we also have the Essex delegation where he meets with, the members that the Senate and, of course, the Assembly people who represent Newark or Essex County. And, we sit down and talk about things that are on its way and things that we think we should prepare for, right? So, Ron Rice, for example. Ron Rice, it's no secret, Ron Rice was not at all, he was completely against the marijuana bill. But we was able to have dialogue before it hit. We had a clear understanding that what the pathway was, and he understood that we understood what we were saying.
I got you.
Right? And even though we were on different sides on it, he always would say, we together, even though we disagree about this. You need three main, things to be an effective assembly person.
Okay, let's go with that.
Use effective.
Okay, I like effective.
First and foremost, you have to have a community tie, right? You have to be like.
You just can't be here. You got to live here.
Well, the key to it is living here is one thing. Caring about here is a real thing, because people gonna call you and you can't say, I'm gonna get back to you, and I get back to them, right? And
they do.
Well,
and that's the problem.
Listen, the harsh reality is that no one's perfect, but you have to also understand that people want answers. They want support. You have to at least understand legislation.
Yeah, I would hope so. The car analogy was my simplest, but okay, go ahead.
You got folks who gonna have to pick up a piece of paper and say, all right, this is what the law says now, and this is what we're trying to amend it or add to it. And if you don't understand it, you're going to struggle.
Well, you do realize, and let's be honest, that some folks get interpreters. They'll ask somebody what it means.
Right. And I
don't know how effective that is, but I'm going to ask somebody because I don't know the word.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
So, the key to that is, though, they're going to give you their understanding.
And that was my point.
And prayerfully, they understand it, because if they don't, now we 0 for 2. What they say, it's like the blind leading the blind, right? So, I do recognize and appreciate that, my ties to this community is so deep.
Got it.
My understanding and appreciation of the law is clear.
Got it.
You don't get to this place.
I can say a judge I know personally
Right.
gave you the highest compliment not long ago, said that you and I was like, yo, it's okay. It's okay. And he wasn't trying to tell me that. He was just saying, no, I find him to be. I was like, okay. He also spoke at my class to see no. So I kind of knew he was not saying that for any other purpose.
Okay. And then the other thing is you have to sit down and appreciate that there's going to be a budget. And, prayerfully you make it to, to one of the committees that plays a part. But you still going to have to look at the budget and find a way to understand what is out there as far as the needs of the community, and then also find a way to fight for it, to bring it back. Remember the past you talked about earlier? So psychologically, right? Like when you get somewhere and you have a chance to push this and you can continue to go down the line. You might not finish the line,
right?
But it's more than likely that you're going to go on that straight path than going like up and down, round and round,
right.
etc. Now, as you're saying now, the new ballot, it's like, in this situation, it's governor, all the governor candidates, senator, all the senator candidates, assembly, all the assembly candidates, etc. The days of being next to somebody.
So you actually have to, we actually have to know who we want. And that's what this is about.
That's what this is all about.
And why we want them,
that's
that
right.
we would seek them out. I don't care if there's 1,000 names. If you want a chicken a certain way,
right.
You ain't accepting that kind of chicken, that kind of chicken.
That's right.
You're going to go get that chicken.
That's right.
I'm not calling them chicken.
That's right.
But I'm just saying, if your preferred choice is somebody who brings depth, knowledge, experience, community engagement, then why would you settle for somebody who's hamburger? I just don't get it.
The qualifications play a part, but the key to it is the community aspect of it. Like, and when I say the people, I got a call this morning from, Brother Troy, one of the OGs, right? And, they call themselves the OGs of Patterson. It's a group of, older fellas who have pride in the fact that they've made it this far. And they say, oh, no, we behind you 100%, brother. We behind you 100%. The folks at the fire department, the same thing, right? Now, that's two different worlds.
Right.
But a part of the common thread is they both said, listen, we watched you grow up.
Right.
They watched me come through Kennedy. They watched me play sports.
And we're not going to hold the Kennedy grow up part. Because we ghosts understand, but no.
Yeah. But, and those folks, they know the path that I had to take, right? Their kids were around with me. Their grandkids, I had kids, my son is 9 now, my daughter's 6. Their grandkids play with my kids now. So it's a full-fledged understanding of what the expectations are. You're not introducing me to most people. Right. There's some people who say, wait a minute, who's this guy? And then prayerfully I can get to know you and, we turn it into a good relationship. But the community literally raised me through the process.
Go ahead.
Let me break it up a little bit, though. What shocks me is how the powers to be.
What powers to be? We give them power. Okay, I'm sorry.
The folks with the titles.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
They say, this race votes this way, and this race votes that way, and this and this and this and that. And they want to speak on behalf of their community, right? They always say that, right?
Right.
On behalf of my community, right? I think that's like crazy because it's like that.
As pastors say, take your time.
That is so much of a disrespectful comment that you speak on behalf of your community, despite the fact that they may have had a separate experience. Right? Like, it's not as if, like, when somebody comes to my office and they knock on the door and they say, hey, I have an issue. Because, the law don't care about what.
It don't care.
Come on now. So when they come in, they don't say, hey.
Right.
You only do it for your community? No, man. You know how many people are represented from different communities with same issues? So, disregard that stuff, man, and you're going to be surprised on June 10th. And then the other thing is, the days of using race to win or lose or to criticize someone is gone. No matter what you say, the people in this community recognize and appreciate what the problems are, and they recognize and appreciate who they believe can help them with it. First of all, I just make it clear that I'm a Democrat.
Okay.
Through and through. Recognize and appreciate that, some folks will try to like twist it up a little bit because you're not on the Democratic Party's ticket. That you're not Democrat. I'm more Democrat than most of them people. Yes, be clear about that.
And I know this.
Okay? My legal experience, in the newspapers and everything else, I always tell people, criminal cases make you popular. You get in the newspaper for that stuff, right? But I represented different school districts. I represented different municipalities. I represented housing authorities. Of course, where I am now in Newark, there's a wealth of knowledge that you get out of the day to day when it comes to Newark. But the other thing is,
But tell people what your title is, just so they understand.
oh no, so it's the Corporation Counsel, right?
What does that mean?
It's a fancy way of saying you're the head lawyer.
You're the lead lawyer.
The lead lawyer.
You're the legal
Good point.
genius for the city of Newark and all their cases.
I love it.
I mean, we got to say it.
Right.
I mean, because
I
the
appreciate
transition from here to assembly
Sure.
is you'd be the lead for us.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I'm just saying, let's put it like it is. I ain't blowing smoke. It ain't like you sit there and you're one of.
Right.
You are the.
No, yeah, there's more than 30 lawyers.
Yeah, call it. Call it. Claim it.
There's more than 30 lawyers in my office,
Okay.
office, right? Let's be clear.
He being humble,
Right.
and that's okay. We want some humility. But he's corporation counsel. Just like I appointed the lead attorney for the city.
That's right.
He was appointed as the lead attorney for the city of Newark. And this is what year is that for you now?
I'm on my 9th year.
So it's not like he just happened to find the job.
Yeah,
It was he does the job.
Yeah, I think about 8th, almost 9th year. But I'm gonna tell you
That's all I'm saying.
But the other thing is this though, right? When I look back at who has held the position before, Shavonda Sumter. Now listen, since your campaign, we've been down together. Our frat brother Kenny, is through and through. But that's somebody who I look to for answers. That's somebody who comes to me, who have come to me in the past, and we've shared experiences. She get advice from me. I give her advice. When things are moving one way or another, we find ways to support each other.
Right.
Benji Wimberly, the same thing, right?
Got it.
I mean, fortunate enough, known him before your election, but you got to think about it. Back then, when it was Jeff's campaign and Benji's campaign, I was in both. Right.
Because we were running almost in tandem. Right.
Exactly,
Correct.
Right? So, but again, right, someone who I've always gone to, and vice versa, right? I looked out for his sons, and he's always looked out for me. Then you go a little further. Right? Nellie Poe. Now, my relationship with Nellie isn't as close as
Congresswoman Nellie Poe.
Yes, to be clear about that.
Right.
You know what? You got that. Put some respect on her name.
I'm just saying.
That's right. You got that.
I'm just saying.
I'm
I mean, Assemblyman,
Right. That's
Kenyatta
right.
Stewart,
Right.
Congresswoman Nellie Poe.
That's
I'm
right.
okay with it.
And you know what? I'm 100% clear about our Congresswoman and I have a good relationship. Of course, I grew up in the legal field, and her husband was also a judge, right? So I've appeared before him for years,
Got it.
And then you think about it, Elise Evans, who, former Assemblywoman Elise Evans, who, again, someone who I can call and, called me about issues when it comes to the community and the greater good. Reverend Steele.
Got it. Assemblyman. Former Assemblyman.
Right, former Assemblyman Reverend Steele. The same situation. So my point is, I'm not walking in
Right.
like anybody else. I'm walking in prepared. I'm walking in with relationships. I'm walking in as the son of this community. And I am
Got it.
clear about one thing. I'm clear that the only way I'm going to get there is when this community comes together and votes me in. And I'm also clear about the second thing, which is when I get to Trenton, I'm only going there with one thing in mind, the community.